Ladies and gentlemen, there is a whisper that flows through the depths of our collective soul, an ancient call that only a few can perceive. This call is not loud, it is subtle, like the rustle of leaves before a storm or the faint echo of a forgotten dream. Only the chosen ones will hear it. In the vast and tumultuous landscape of our modern existence, where countless voices clamor for attention, the true message often becomes lost or obscured. The world bombards us with noise, endless distractions, urgent demands, and superficial chatter that cloud our perception and scatter our focus. Yet, beneath this relentless storm of sound, beneath the ceaseless flood of information, there exists a whisper. It is a voice unlike any other, not loud or insistent, but gentle and elusive, like a soft breeze weaving through the leaves or the faint murmur of a distant river. This voice does not call out to the ears that listen only for the obvious. Instead, it speaks to a deeper part of us, a place beyond words and reason, a quiet realm where intuition stirs and the soul listens in stillness. This voice is not merely external, but arises from within, emerging from the depths of our being where conscious thought gives way to something more profound and mysterious. It is the language of symbols and feelings, of dreams and shadows, a communication that transcends the surface and touches the very core of who we are. It is here, in the silence between our thoughts, that this voice reveals itself to those who are willing to be still enough to hear. But not everyone can hear it. For most, the noise of the outer world drowns out this subtle call, and the mind remains captive to its endless distractions and fears. Only those who dare to silence the noise, who cultivate a space of inner calm and openness, can attune themselves to this hidden voice. These chosen ones are those who listen not with the ears but with the heart and soul. They hear what cannot be spoken aloud, they sense what cannot be seen with the eyes alone. To hear this voice is to connect with a deeper wisdom that exists beyond the logic of everyday life. It is a connection to an inner guide, a source of meaning that speaks through intuition and insight. This voice invites us to look beyond appearances, to question our assumptions, and to explore the mysteries that lie beneath the surface of our conscious awareness. It is a summons to awaken, to become more fully present to the unseen dimensions of our existence. In answering this call, the chosen ones embark on a journey of transformation. They learn to discern the authentic from the superficial, to trust the subtle nudges of their inner knowing, and to follow the path that unfolds within their own being. This voice is a beacon in the darkness, a light that illuminates the hidden corridors of the soul and reveals the way toward wholeness. Thus, the voice beyond the noise is both a challenge and a gift, a call to awaken from the slumber of distraction and to listen deeply to the truths that lie within. It is a call that only the chosen ones can hear, those who possess the courage to seek silence amid the clamor, and who embrace the mystery that dwells in the quiet places of the self. The path of the inner journey is unlike any other. It is not marked by signposts or mapped by external landmarks, but is charted in the hidden terrain of the soul. It demands a turning away from the world's distractions, its fleeting pleasures, and its shallow validations. To embark on this journey is to turn inward, to descend beneath the surface of conscious life into the vast, often uncharted depths of one's own psyche. It is a voyage that requires courage, for what lies ahead is not always comforting or familiar. Within the labyrinth of the inner world dwell not only light and beauty, but also shadows, fears, and forgotten parts of ourselves that long for recognition and healing. This journey asks us to confront what we often try to avoid, the aspects of ourselves that are uncomfortable or repressed. It asks us to meet the shadow, that dark companion who carries the burdens of our denied impulses, unacknowledged desires, and unspoken wounds. To ignore the shadow is to remain fragmented, but to embrace it is to begin the process of integration, of becoming whole. The chosen ones who hear the call are those who dare to look into the mirror of their own being, even when the reflection is unsettling, even when it reveals truths that challenge their self-image. Along this path, the traveler learns to cultivate stillness and attentiveness. The hurried mind and restless heart must learn patience and presence. In the silence of the inner world, new truths emerge, truths that cannot be found in books or through external authority, but arise from the depths of lived experience. Dreams, symbols, and intuitive insights become guides, offering glimpses into the hidden order of the psyche. This is a journey not toward certainty, but toward openness, an openness to mystery, paradox, and the unfolding of the self in its many dimensions. The inner journey is also a path of transformation. It requires shedding old patterns and beliefs that no longer serve, and embracing new ways of being that are aligned with the deeper self. It is a continual process of death and rebirth, where the ego's narrow identity is expanded into a more expansive and inclusive awareness. This path invites the traveler to move beyond the confines of their personal story and connect with something greater, a sense of belonging to the whole of life, to the collective soul that unites all beings. Yet, this journey is not a solitary ordeal. Though it calls for deep personal commitment, it also reveals the interconnectedness of all things. The chosen ones who hear the call recognize that their transformation resonates outward, influencing not only their own lives, but the world around them. They become bridges between the inner and outer worlds, between the visible and invisible, between the known and unknown. In essence, the path of the inner journey is the sacred pilgrimage of the soul, a journey into the depths where true wisdom, healing, and wholeness await. It is a path for those willing to embrace both the light and the shadow, to listen deeply to the voice within, and to courageously step into the mystery of their own being. The awakening of the self is a profound and transformative event, not merely an intellectual realization, but a deep, living experience that touches the very essence of our being. It is a stirring from a long slumber, a rising of something ancient and eternal that dwells within us all. This awakening is not the triumph of the ego, with its narrow sense of identity and fleeting achievements, but rather the emergence of a deeper center, a core of wholeness that transcends the fragmented parts of our psyche. It is the blossoming of the self, a luminous presence that holds together opposites, reconciles contradictions, and embraces the totality of our existence. In the waking of the self, the boundaries that once separated light from shadow, joy from sorrow, strength from vulnerability, begin to dissolve. The self recognizes that these seemingly opposing forces are not enemies, but companions on the journey toward integration. This recognition brings with it a profound sense of harmony and balance, as the fragmented pieces of the inner world are drawn together into a new, coherent whole. The awakening is a movement from division to unity, from confusion to clarity, from isolation to connection. This process is often marked by moments of intense insight and revelation, those sudden flashes of understanding that illuminate the hidden patterns of our life and reveal the meaning behind our struggles and joys. But it is also a slow, patient unfolding, a gradual deepening of awareness that grows stronger over time. It calls for humility and openness, for the willingness to face the unknown within ourselves without resistance or fear. As the self awakens, it brings with it a renewed sense of purpose and direction, no longer driven solely by external expectations or the ego's desires. The awakened self is guided by an inner wisdom that knows what is truly needed for growth and fulfillment. This wisdom speaks in symbols, dreams, and subtle feelings, inviting us to walk a path that is uniquely our own, one that leads to authentic expression and meaningful contribution. Moreover, the awakening of the self is not a solitary event confined to the individual. It resonates outward, touching the collective soul and influencing the world in subtle but profound ways. The awakened one becomes a vessel of transformation, carrying the light of consciousness into places where darkness and confusion once prevailed. This awakening inspires others to seek their own truth, creating ripples of healing and renewal throughout the larger human community. Yet, this awakening is not without its challenges. The self's emergence can unsettle old certainties and disrupt comfortable patterns, calling us to release what no longer serves our growth. It demands courage to face the shadow within and compassion to embrace the imperfections of our humanity. But in this challenge lies the greatest gift, the chance to live with authenticity, depth, and freedom. Thus, the awakening of the self is a sacred journey, a return to the center of our being, where the light of consciousness shines with clarity and warmth. It is an invitation to step into our fullest potential, to live with integrity, and to become whole. The mystery of recognition is a subtle and often elusive experience, one that arrives not with fanfare or certainty, but through quiet moments of inner stirring and subtle shifts in awareness. It is a process that unfolds gradually, sometimes imperceptibly, like the dawn creeping softly over the horizon, transforming darkness into light. This recognition does not always come as a sudden revelation. It may first appear disguised as confusion, discomfort, or even a sense of alienation from the familiar. Yet, within these very feelings lies the invitation to awaken, to see beyond the veil of ordinary perception and glimpse the deeper truths that await beneath the surface. Often, the chosen ones do not recognize themselves immediately when the call begins. They may feel out of place, disconnected from the rhythms of the world around them, or burdened by a restless yearning they cannot quite name. This sense of otherness is not a curse but a sign, a sacred marker pointing toward a deeper destiny. It signals that the familiar identity, shaped by external expectations and conditioned patterns, no longer suffices. Something within stirs, calling for transformation and growth beyond the confines of past understanding. Recognition is, in its essence, a meeting between the conscious self and the deeper layers of the psyche. It is the moment when the hidden aspects of our being step into the light, inviting us to embrace the fullness of who we are. This encounter can be disorienting because it challenges the ego's need for control and certainty. It disrupts the comfortable narratives we tell ourselves and reveals the complexity and richness of the inner world, with all its contradictions and mysteries. Yet, despite its challenges, this mystery holds immense potential for renewal. To recognize the call is to open oneself to a profound transformation, a journey from fragmentation toward wholeness. It requires a willingness to surrender old certainties, to trust in the unknown, and to lean into the discomfort of change. The mystery of recognition is not solved by the intellect alone, but by the heart's courage and the soul's patience. This process is often accompanied by a deepening trust in the unseen forces that guide us. Though the path may be uncertain, there is a subtle knowing that something greater is at work, an invisible hand weaving the threads of our experience into a meaningful whole. The chosen ones who hear this call learn to listen with new attentiveness, discerning the language of symbols, dreams, and intuition that speaks directly to the soul. In embracing this mystery, they come to understand that recognition is not a singular event, but an ongoing process. It unfolds over time, revealing new layers of insight and awakening at each stage of life. It invites a continuous dialogue between the known and unknown, the conscious and unconscious, leading to a deeper alignment with the true self. Thus, the mystery of recognition is both a challenge and a gift, a sacred invitation to awaken to the depths within, to embrace the unknown with courage, and to walk the path of transformation with an open heart.